Hello, my baby, hello, my darling, hello, my ragtime girl. Send me a kiss, my wife. Baby, my heart's on fire. And if you refuse me, baby, you'll lose me. Then I'll be left alone.
La 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 la. Here we go. It's the Bible reloaded, tragic explosion, like Jesus and Moses, but it's Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of it taken, so get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up a pew and stop what you're doing. It's Bible reloaded time. They call it unaided, the fears will hate it, like talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So I'm with the show then, it's not candy coated, it's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake. With Hugo and Jake.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is the Bible Reloaded.
Yeah. What did we do last time? I was destroyed. A Chan's sin, that was a thing.
And some circumcision. Anyways, as you know, Joshua is now in charge of the Israelites, and he's taking them around and just conquering shit because that's what God wants.
Yeah.
So we continue with all the conquests in the Gibeonite deception.
Ooh.
Joshua chapter 9. Now when all the kings west of the Jordan heard about these things, the kings in the hill country, in the western foothills, and along the entire coast of the Mediterranean Sea, as far as Lebanon, the kings of the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, Pezerites, Hivites, and Jebusites, they came together to wage war against Joshua and Israel. It's like the Legion of Doom have come together.
No, I think it's more like NATO.
Okay,
Or the Allied forces, because Joshua's a piece of shit.
so they've all come together and be like, we gotta stop Hitler, Joshua.
Yeah.
We gotta protect our lands, because, you know, we have them, and that's how our system works.
Yeah, being alive in the place we are.
However, when the people of Gibeon heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, they resorted to a ruse. Those bastards. They went as a delegation whose donkeys were loaded with worn-out sacks and old wine-skins, cracked and mended. They put worn and patched sandals on their feet and wore old clothes.
I like to imagine they got all the old shit from the local, like, poor people. There's like, give me your shit. We need to do a ruse. I'm poor. I don't know what a ruse is. It's a ruse. It's a fancy word for a trick.
All the bread of their food supply was dry and moldy, so like desert bread.
Yeah.
Then they went to Joshua at the camp in Gilgal and said to him and the Israelites, we have come from a distant country. Make a treaty with us. As you do, you just walk up to people, make a treaty. We're
I
from
demand
far
a
away."
treaty.
The Israelites said to the Hivites, but perhaps you live near us, so how can we make a treaty with you?
Because fuck neighbors.
I know. I often think, why are we allies with Canada? We're so close. What if we get tempted to annex them? Like, what?
I really like Toronto.
Yeah.
But I don't want the rest of it. I just want to...
Just Toronto. Yeah, so the implication here does seem to be like the Israelites are like, we would make a treaty with you, but what if you're near us? We need that land because... Verse 8. We are your servants, they said to Joshua. But Joshua asked, who are you and where do you come from? They answered, your servants have come from a very distant country because of the fame of the Lord your God.
We just have to see him.
They're like German tourists. They just complain about everything. For we have heard reports of him, all that he did in Egypt. You know, all the people who were there to witness it who died. They were very vocal about it. And all that he did to the two kings of the Amorite east of the Jordan, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, who reigned in Ashtaroth.
Nice.
And our elders and all those living in our country said to us, take provisions for your journey, go out and meet them. Say to them, we are your servants, make a treaty with us. This bread of ours was warm when we packed it at home on the day we left to come see you. But now see how dry and moldy it is. Look it's moldy.
That's
Bread
proof.
doesn't mold quickly in this land where there's no preservatives. And these wineskins that we have filled were new, but see how cracked they are. We've literally been traveling for years. And our clothes and sandals are worn out by the very long journey. You know, how clothes get worn as you wear them. The Israelites sampled their provisions, but did not inquire of the Lord.
Ah, you should always inquire of the Lord.
I don't know if the bread's moldy. Let me taste it. Are you sure? You can clearly see it's discolored and fuzzy.
Tastes like green.
So if you can't tell already, the moral of the story is essentially, don't trust your own reason. You always have to ask the Lord.
It also implies that they're generally pretty reasonable people, but if they had inquired of the Lord, they would have immediately murdered them.
Yeah. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live, and the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. Not an oath! Oath! 3 days after they made the treaty with the Gibeonites, the Israelites heard that they were neighbors living near them. Damn it! So the Israelites set out on the 3rd day to come to their city as Gibeon, Kepharoth, Beeroth, Kirath, Jearim, but the Israelites did not attack them because the leaders of the assembly had sworn an oath to them by the Lord the God of Israel. Because if they hadn't sworn an oath, they would have fucked them up.
Yeah.
No question. They'd been like, look at that city. Why isn't that our city?
Why don't we stab their babies?
That's seriously, what a weird mindset they seem to have. Why isn't that city ours right now? We should go get that city. Everything
The
doesn't...
thing is, though, once they get the cities, they don't even stay in the cities like, I don't like cities, and they just go back into the desert. Why are you ruining cities?
Yeah. What are you doing?
There's no point of ruining the city.
They're perfectly happy being a city with their walls and businesses and babies and townsfolk. Probably a quirky youngster who's just coming of age.
Then one old guy that tries to coax the kids so he can touch them.
Yeah, but it's like ancient cities, so they're just like, oh, you.
Yeah.
Almost got him. Almost got him. The whole assembly grumbled against the leaders because that seems to be their only character trait.
Grumbling.
But all the leaders answered, we have given them our oath by the Lord, the God of Israel, and we cannot touch them now, because we're generally such moral people. This is an issue. This is what we will do to them. We will let them live, so that God's wrath will not fall on us for breaking the oath we swore to them. They continued, let them live, but let them be woodcutters and water carriers in the service of the whole assembly, so the leader's promise to them was kept.
So slaves.
Yes, here's the thought process that I assume would have gone if this had actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
We can't kill them, so what are we gonna do? We can't just have them out living, right?
Yeah, we can't have them being okay with everything.
So we'll go to them and we'll be like, you work for us now, and they'll be like, okay, because this is a good alternative.
Right. And also, if you can't threaten them with death, why would they be your slave?
Why wouldn't, yeah, they just
Why
be
wouldn't
like,
they just be like, when they come up, when they, like, if you were a slave, but you knew you had immunity, hey, slave,
what?
Suck my dick.
No,
because you're a slave.
No, thank you.
So basically, if you're a slave, you just act like an abused, like, fast food manager.
Verse 22. Then Joshua summoned the Gibeonites and said, why did you deceive us by saying we live a long way away from you, when actually you live near us? You are now under a curse. You will never be released from the service as woodcutters and water carriers for the house of God. They answered Joshua, your servants were clearly told how the Lord your God has commanded his servant Moses to give you the whole land and wipe out all its inhabitants from before you. So we feared for our lives because of you, and that is why we did this. We are now in your hands. Do to us whatever seems good and right to you. They gave up quickly. There was no bartering. Like, what if we're... every other weekend we come and we do things for you. So Joshua saved them from the Israelites, and they did not kill them.
Saved them from himself.
Yeah. That day he made the Gibeonites woodcutters and water carriers for the assembly to provide for the needs of the altar of the Lord at the place the Lord would choose. And that is what they are to this day. There's every single time we go over certain things in the Bible, it's like there's this false standard set up where they're the good guys for not killing them, as if there was no other option. Like, it's either we kill them or this other thing. There are no third choices. We're clearly the good guys because we just didn't murder them, or because we didn't murder as many, or saved one person.
Does that mean I'm the greatest guy?
Yeah, you've murdered very few people. I've only seen you murder 2. Then we get to chapter 10, the sun stands still, and this is one of the things in the Bible that comes up occasionally. It's not a AAA story, but it's a C story. You hear it enough. You might see it in a Facebook post. I know I've seen it at least once in a chain email, where it essentially says, when scientists were trying to figure out the age of the Earth, it didn't match up. Their calculations were blah 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 off. But then, of course, a godly one of the scientists was like, there's a story in the Bible where the sun stands still. What if we put in the calculation that the Earth stopped for a day, and then they did, and then it worked out perfectly? Jesus is Lord! Of course, none of that happened, and that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right. So they were off by a day, and it just burned them in the inside. Like, couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
Even if that was true, a year isn't exactly 365 days.
Yeah.
So also that doesn't make sense. Fuck you, I don't know.
Now Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem and also Starfleet admiral, heard that Joshua had taken Ai and totally destroyed it, doing to Ai and its king as he had done to Jericho and its king, and the people of Gibeon had made treaty of peace with Israel and had become their allies. Allies? Slaves?
Yeah. Woodcutters.
He and his people were very much alarmed by this because Gibeonites were an important city, like one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and all its men were good fighters. So Adoni-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, appealed to Hoham, king of Hebron, Piram, king of Jarmuth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Debir, king of Eglon. Come up and help me attack Gibeon, he said, because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces. They moved up all their troops and took up the positions against Gibeon and attacked it. The Gibeonites then sent word to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, "Do not abandon your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite kings from the hill country have joined forces against us."
They always say kings. You live in the woods.
Yeah.
You're not a king.
You're a governor at best. You're a governor of a city-state.
You're a guy with a beard. That is how we gain status.
So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his entire army, including all the best fighting men. Again with this, if you say your entire army,
it implies the best fighting men are there.
Every fighting man,
Unless
of every quality is there.
Unless he has the army, and then all the best fighting men are usually like cooks.
I don't know.
He's a really terrible general.
The Lord said to Joshua, "Do not be afraid of them. I have given them into your hand. Not one of them will be able to withstand you." After an all-night march to Gilgal, Joshua took them by surprise. The Lord threw them into confusion before Israel, so Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely at Gibeon. Israel pursued them along the road going up to Beth-Haran and cut them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. As they fled before Israel on the ground, down from Beth-Horon to Azekah, the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them. More of them died from the hail than were killed by swords of the Israelites. That's not boasting your hail skills. That's advertising the detriment of your army's swordsmanship skills. More hailstones randomly killed people than you could slash at them with pointy metal. Like that. Man, it's a good thing that hailstorm happened, because we were facing the swords the wrong way. We didn't know how to stab things. If you think Jews can't play basketball, just try and watch them kill someone.
Oh, man.
It's a good thing OJ's black and not Jewish.
OJ wasn't a basketball player. He was a football player.
No, he's...
And a murderer.
No, I was saying that because he was a murderer. He was a good murderer.
Okay, I thought you thought OJ Simpson was a basketball player.
No. Just a really good murderer.
He's a terrible murderer.
He got away with it.
He didn't even wear gloves that fit.
I can't get it on, Judge. Just look at how much I can't get it on my hand. I don't know.
Does the knife fit in your hand? Well, yeah, perfectly.
Remember these words. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
God is dead.
Hey, my name is Dave Viviano, or Gamma Atheist Online. I'm the host of Atheist Hangouts, powered by Dogma Debate. It's a pretty laid-back show where we bring guests on to get inside their head, talk about different topics to engage the audience. Some of our previous guests have included Sarah Moorhead of Recovering from Religion, David McAfee, author, Mom, Dad, I'm an Atheist, David Smalley from Dogma Debate, Dave Moscato, PR for American Atheists, Zach Copeland, the science activist, well known for the Louisiana Creation Bill, fighting against that. And you may know this guy, Chris Cluey, former NFL player, speaks out on marriage equality, keynote speaker for American Atheist Convention this spring. Maybe. And I got many more guests that I've had on the show. With more guests scheduled for more laughs, informative conversations, slightly less dick jokes than the Bible Reloaded guys. I'd appreciate it if you checked out my channel. You'd be my hero if you hit the subscribe button. And I may fall in love with you if you share this as well. You can find out more on atheisthangouts.com. Thanks for watching, and thank you, Jake and Hugo, for reading the Bible.
Verse 12, On the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon, because I know that's where you are. So the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, till the nation avenged itself on its enemies. So, firstly, before we even get to why that wouldn't work, I have to ask, why even bother? What did that help? That it's just sunny. Secondly, he says, and you, moon, over the valley of Ajalon.
Yeah, moon. You!
Where's the valley of Ajalon, and why does he think it's there? As it is written in the book of Jashar, the book of Jashar, the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down for about a full day. There has never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a human being. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. There is an exclamation point there, by the way. Then Joshua returned with all Israel to the camp at Gilgal.
First, before we mention the sun thing, there's never been a day like it before or since when the Lord listened to a human being. So prayer doesn't work.
Nope.
That's according to the Bible. Nextly...
Okay, so here's what would have to happen. Firstly, I'll address the moon first, because it's tertiary. He says the moon stopped as well. The moon is on a different thing entirely from the Earth, so that would be two separate processes. So the moon thing is out. That would fuck up tides. No, you can't just stop the moon from going around the Earth. Okay, now on to the sun standing still in the sky. As we now know...
That means the Earth stood still in the sky.
Yeah.
It didn't rotate.
Because, of heliocentrism.
Yeah.
So the sun is in the middle, and it looks like the sun's going around because we're spinning, and our facing direction changes. So basically, the Earth would have to stop spinning. Not only would it have to stop spinning, it would have to spin correctly to continually face the sun.
Yeah.
Although since that's on a yearly thing, it would not
Probably
take
be
as long.
imperceivable.
Yeah. But anyway, for this to happen, the Earth would have to stop spinning. And for reference, if the Earth stopped spinning immediately, like boom, stops.
Right, because it says the sun stops in the middle of the sky. So it had already gotten to, let's call it noon. The Earth had been rotating just fine till noon, and then right at noon, done. So what happens when the Earth stops rotating in an instant?
Okay, so imagine you're in a car.
Yeah.
A car going down a road
Without a seatbelt.
at several 100,000 miles per hour.
You're not in the car anymore, actually. Let's put you on top of the car.
Yep.
And you're one of those badasses, like those Russian guys you see on YouTube.
You're Teen Wolf.
You're Teen Wolf, yeah.
You're surfing on the van. Get this clip. You're surfing on the van,
Okay.
going hundreds of thousands of miles an hour.
It's a really fast car.
All of a sudden, the van stops. Teen Wolf goes fucking flying.
And wind resistance would literally rip you in half.
Yeah.
But if you survived, you'd travel a really fucking long way until you either hit something or fell back to Earth as your arc descended via gravity.
Yeah.
Also, and if you were closer to the equator, it would be more severe because, the speed is greater on the outside because there's more distance to cover. If you were closer to the top, not a lot you wouldn't feel a lot, but you'd still be fucked up. Even worse, if you survived it, you would drown unless you were like on a mountain on the equator, because what happens is, because of the spin of the Earth, the water on the outside pulls out, but when the Earth stops, the water would settle back and it would be normal. So there'd be a long strip of land around the equator, and everything else out north and south would be fucking submerged.
So yeah, this story didn't happen.
No.
Otherwise, everyone in the world would have written about it. You would see on one side of the Earth lots of stories of, remember that day it was day all the time? And on the other side of the Earth would be, hey, remember that time it was night all day? And there'd be like lots of drownings.
Right.
This is so indefensible. It's ridiculous.
This is my number one least indefensible thing, followed by what we will get to, which is Saul's death 4 different ways. Followed again by probably Noah, and then followed fourth probably by Jesus' last words, which were also, I think it's 3 or 4 different versions. So it's like these giant fucking things that they just do not look at.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Then after that lovely bit that we gave you,
Apparently the 5 kings together were like, fuck this, we're out, let's go hide in a cave. And this is where we pick up.
Yep. Verse 16. Now the 5 kings had fled and hidden in the cave at Makkedah. When Joshua had told that the 5 kings had been found hiding in the cave at Makkedah, he said, "Roll large rocks up against the mouth of the cave and post some men there to guard it. But don't stop. Pursue your enemies, attack them from the rear, and don't let them reach their cities, for the Lord your God has given them into your hand." So no mercy. No, they're fleeing, so okay, we win.
Yeah.
No, you kill every last motherfucker there. So Joshua and the Israelites defeated them completely, but a few survivors managed to reach their fortified cities.
Oh, that's fucking unacceptable.
The whole army then returned safely to Joshua in the camp at Makkedah, and no one uttered a word against the Israelites, obviously, because they'll fucking kill you, clearly. Joshua said, "Open the mouth of the cave and bring those 5 kings out to me." So they brought the 5 kings out of the cave, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Eglon. When they had brought these kings to Joshua, he summoned all the men of Israel and said to the army commanders who had come to him,
This is the best sentence.
"Come here and put your feet on the necks of these kings." So they came forward and placed their feet. Let me put this more in context, because the Bible tends to go on side things and stuff. Let's look at this from the king's perspective. So you have rumors of this group of people going around the desert, defeating king after king after king on their home turf.
And not just that, they're murdering every person inside your kingdom and or village, including the children. And usually they take all your shit too.
Yeah. You're in a place of responsibility. You're basically the governor of a city-state, and how that works is you get a lot of stuff, and sure, you're the king, but you're also in charge of the army and protecting the people in your region.
Yep.
Think of it like a caste system almost. So you hear that they're coming your way, so you get together with other governors of city-states around you, and you say, "We have to protect our people. We might not normally get along, but seriously, these guys pose a threat. We have to get together and stop them because they're going to kill all of our people."
So they're the good guys.
So Joshua comes, fucks them all up. The kings run away. There's almost no survivors left, apparently.
Right.
So the kings are just trying to get away and regroup.
And I think it's assumed that the villagers didn't also come out. I think they're trying to send them back further and further and further.
Yeah.
Because it says that they go back and they don't, a few survivors or whatever. But
Yeah. So then Joshua finds them hiding in a cave, brings them out, puts them on the ground, has his soldiers put your feet on their necks. Like, this is the work of a
shit.
demented fucking... Like, someone who's basically just trying to take over land in the most fucked up, ruthless, I want to show you I'm in charge way possible. That's just
kind of like
fucked.
the rape of Nanking.
Yeah. It's like...
It's pretty fucking barbaric. And it's best to read these kinds of stories like we just did from the perspective of the people that are being murdered and think, what would go through your head if you were them just chilling in a desert because you have to be there?
So Joshua said to them, "Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, be strong and courageous. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies you are going to fight." That's a really fucked up speech too. Be strong and courageous as you have your foot on the necks of your enemies who are just trying to protect their land. You don't have to be strong and courageous. That's cowardly. That's being a fucking... I don't even have a word for it. You're an evil, evil figure.
You're a bad person.
Then Joshua put the kings to death and exposed their bodies on 5 poles, and they were left hanging on the poles until evening. Like Vlad the Impaler,
Yeah.
who everyone knows is a real nice guy. At sunset, Joshua gave the order, and they took them down from the poles and threw them into the cave where they had been hiding. At the mouth of the cave, they placed large rocks, which are there to this day. So if anyone finds large rocks in the desert, I guess we know where they are.
Oh, yeah. So that was a heartwarming story that you can tell the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how to come down from that.
Dramatic chipmunk?
Perfect. That worked. That brought us back.
Okay.
Brought us back. All right.
All right.
Now it's a comedy show again.
Okay. So thanks everyone for listening.
If you haven't caught it, we did an episode with Dark Matter on our channel. It was posted a couple weeks ago, whatever. We did a chick check with him. It was awesome. And also, even more cool, we did a video on his channel. Check it out here. There's a link in the description fucking amazing. We did Sodom and Gomorrah. Go watch it. It's awesome. Tell your friends. Fucking cool.
Yep.
Yo, Lot, bring up those fine specimens of man meat who are in my house.
If you want to follow us on Twitter, which you should, you can follow Jake at Bible Reloaded
Yay.
or me at Hugo Reloaded, which is now called Ask Hugo because I'm doing the Ask Hugo series.
Yeah.
You can donate,
You can.
but you should not buy merch. And here's why.
Yeah, they jacked the fucking prices up of everything on there without our consent. So like a shirt is like $30, and that's outrageous, and I do not want you to buy it. If you absolutely must, if you just like, I need TBR shit, go ahead. In the meantime, if you guys know a really cool merch store style place on the internet where we can sell our stuff, let us know what you guys think is the best option, because we think it's outrageous that they're asking for a certain price for shit. And I know a lot of you guys have gotten stuff and spent too much money on it already, even when it was a lot cheaper, and that's awesome, and we love you guys for it, and that's really cool, and we appreciate your support. But I just think it's retarded to ask so much fucking money from you guys. So
Yeah.
do not buy anything unless you absolutely feel compelled, because also we don't see a lot of money from it anyway, so it's basically for you.
We have seen
We bought-
dime zero from the merch, by the way, so far.
What we did is we used our balance on it to buy business cards twice.
Yeah.
So not a big deal. But in the meantime, let us know if there's a better alternative for a merch store, and we'll set that up post haste.
Yep.
And that way you guys can get better prices on shit.
All right, so I think that's it.
Yep.
Until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I am Jake.
Next week, we test the morality of murdering babies by murdering some babies.